Hey, it's Adam, and in this video, I'm super excited to share with you this one simple mindset that you can use to restructure your entire life so that you can maximize the happiness that you get and also your fulfillment, and so that when you're on your deathbed, you don't feel like you've wasted all of your time here on earth, but instead you feel satisfied with your human experience. This one mindset that I'm going to share with you right now is counterintuitive. It's the opposite of what you would normally think and what culture has been teaching you. And this one mindset is basically to simplify your life and to have enough things in your life so that you can survive and so that you're not scraping by, but not to live in luxury and not to always be chasing materialistic experiences and things like having really expensive cars and a massive house. All of these things are you basically going overboard in your life, and they actually retract from your happiness instead of contribute to it. So this type of simple living that I'm talking about, I'd like to explain by using an analogy. This I call the video game analogy. So if you've ever played a video game, there are two types of people that play the video game. The first type of person plays the game just to beat the game, and they rush through the story of the game, and they look online and they find whatever cheat codes they can use, or they find whatever sword is the most powerful, and they basically use that same sword for the entire game, and they beat the game as quickly as possible, and they basically rush through all of the story because their objective is to beat the game. And then the second type of person is the type of person who plays the video game slowly for the enjoyment of the game. He doesn't want to spoil any of it online, so he just sits down and he plays slowly. He looks around the areas, his character. He appreciates the music of the game, the environment, all of the details that the developers put into every single tree in the environment of the video game. He appreciates the slow unfolding of the storyline. And he doesn't really care whether or not he's using the best weapons or the best strategy to beat the game, but he wants to make his video game experience personal, and he wants to appreciate and enjoy every single detail of the game. So the second person is actually going to probably beat the game a lot slower, and it's going to take a lot more time, but he's going to really suck the full juice out of that video game. And it's really going to make a lasting impact on his life, because I believe video games are beautiful works of art that can really be appreciated if you take the time to appreciate the artistry of the music and sound design and artistic design. So in your life, most of us are like the first person. We're always thinking ahead into the future about some type of objective or some type of goal to reach, and we rush through our lives missing out on all of the amazing details and the amazing profundity of every single waking moment. So by simplifying your life so that you're not always busy doing stupid hobbies, or you don't have to maintain your Rolls Royce and take it in for cleanings and wasting all of your time. Instead, you're going to have a lot of time just to sit around the house and to relax and to not really do anything, and to maybe practice some meditation or look at your fireplace and just enjoy the way the wood sounds when it's crackling. By simplifying your life, you're creating a foundation for yourself so that you can do work that raises your consciousness. And if you've heard me talk in any of my other videos, you know that the number one way to appreciate life and to be happy and to live a successful life is to be doing work that raises your consciousness and your awareness of the divine amazingness that is this present moment. So the problem with always chasing after luxury and always trying to maximize our happiness in a materialistic sense, because normally our culture tells us that in order to maximize your happiness in life, then you have to be chasing after the best experiences, and you have to be going to the most exotic vacation destinations, and you have to have the best car and the tastiest food and the coolest house with the most perfect family. That's how we stereotypically think that we're going to maximize happiness in our lives. But it's actually the opposite. Yeah, you can have your nice things, but if you just have a simple house with not the nicest car, but a very fuel efficient car, it gets you where you need to go. And you don't have to always work your 9-to-5 job, or let's say you're a workaholic, which is the only reason why you're able to have all of these super, super expensive luxury items. Instead, you're deciding to work a little bit less just so you can get the bare bones basic necessities of life, so that you can spend a lot of your time just sitting around and enjoying the fruits of life, enjoying this present moment and smelling the roses. And of course, this process is facilitated by your meditation practice and by your consciousness work. And this insight came to me while I was on mushrooms. I had a breakthrough mushroom trip, which was absolutely life-changing, and I'm going to make a video about it soon. This mushroom trip was so profound, and it taught me that the purpose of life is really just to exist. Existence is its own point. And not only to exist, but to exist and appreciate the full magnitude of what it even means to exist. By raising your awareness of the present moment, by practicing meditation, by doing Kriya Yoga, by doing mushroom retreats, by doing meditation retreats, by increasing your awareness of the present moment, you start to realize that the only reason that you're alive is just so that you can live and experience life with the ups and the downs. So your life as it is right now is perfect. This exact moment. This is why you're alive, to experience this moment. This exact moment, the way it is, even if you're not feeling so good, even if, let's say you're watching me on your phone and you're curled up in bed and you feel super lazy and you ate way too much food and you just watched some porn so you have no energy, or you just spent the last 6 hours watching a Netflix binge so you feel terrible. This exact moment, even in all of your suffering, is the purpose of life. And your job is to realize that and to enjoy every single detail of every single moment of your life. And the only way to do that is by simplifying your lifestyle so that your basic needs are met. You have a house, you have a source of income, maybe you have a relationship or a couple of good friends, you got maybe something you really, really like to do, a hobby that you're passionate about and that you can hopefully make money with, and then the rest of your life is very simple. You have a lot of free time to just sit and meditate and just experience being a human being. So you have time to go for walks and look at the trees, and appreciate the cycle of the seasons. This is how you're going to maximize the amount of happiness and fulfillment that you get from your life. This is the purpose of existence as shown to me by mushrooms, which is just increasing my consciousness and making me tap into my higher self, which is showing me that being is the highest goal. Not having expensive cars, not having the nicest house, but just being, just existing. That's the highest goal. And you want to structure your life in a way that you can pay attention to being. Like that person playing the video game. He's playing it slowly. He's enjoying the music. He's enjoying the art design. He's maybe going into secret areas. He's going online and researching how the game was created. So he has way more appreciation for the game because he's looking at the behind the scenes, the development, how much work went into the game, so that while he's playing, he can appreciate it so much. But the average person doesn't care about any of that, and they're really missing out on the juice of that game, which is really where all the fulfillment comes from. So, here are some of my tips for simple living. First of all, you can go on actualize.org and watch the video Lifestyle Minimalism. He gives a lot of tips for simple living. Here's some of the main ones. First of all, understand that this is a very long-term goal. So at the start, you may have to work really, really hard so that you can make yourself a career that allows you to live simply, maybe 10, 20 years into the future. Because if you're just working a dead-end 9-to-5 job, then you won't be able to live in this Spartan conscious way that I'm talking about. Because you're going to be stuck running around like a chicken with his head cut off, doing stuff for your boss. So the first tip is eliminate distracting hobbies and habits. So you have a lot of fluff in your life, and the general goal is to cut out all of the things in your life that are not directly contributing to your experience of enjoying being and existence. So you really have to be the judge of which hobbies and habits are serving your consciousness and which ones are becoming a distraction, and you have to sort them and cut it out, basically. So if you're watching Netflix for 6 hours every single night, that's a good place. Maybe you should cut it down to half an hour, or maybe you should cut it down to once a week. So it's really all about balance. You can enjoy watching a Netflix documentary that's teaching you about the profundity of life every once in a while, but when you overdo it and you're watching stupid shows about sex and money and really like greed, all of that is going to be actually detracting from your appreciation of being instead of adding to it. The next tip is have some creative work that you're super passionate about. I just talked about this. So have work that you love to do and that you can master. Because when you master your work, let's say you're an artist, when you're doing your painting and you're mastering your technique, you are really sucking the full juice out of life because you're able to appreciate every single detail that's going into your painting. Because a master is able to make very fine distinctions and appreciate the beauty of the very simple things in life. So a painter knows the difference between thick lines and thinner lines and uses different techniques like dabbing and blotting, and he's really sucking the full juice out of painting. So in life, to really be fulfilled, it's about going really, really deep with one thing that you're mastering, instead of staying very shallow with 100 different things. Because if you, let's say, beat 100 video games, but you rush through the story in every single game and you just wanted to beat it as quickly as you could, then you're not going to be getting as much fulfillment that compared to if you're only playing one game, but you're mastering it and you're becoming the best at that particular video game, and you're appreciating all the details of that one game. That's a lot more fulfilling. Also, another tip for simple living is that you're going to have to meditate and do a lot of consciousness work, contemplation, sitting down, staring at your hand, doing nothing, relaxing. This type of work is absolutely necessary for you to appreciate the doing nothing. If you're not going to be doing meditation, then you can just click off this video, because you're going to just be stuck at the shallow, materialistic, surface levels of life, running around all the time chasing goals that aren't even worth it. Do you realize that the goals that you're chasing are somewhere in the future? But the whole point of life is to appreciate the present. So when you eventually reach your goal, you've already trained your mind to not appreciate the present and to instead want a future goal. So even when you get to your objective, you're still going to be thinking about the future, and you're not going to appreciate the fact that you've reached your objective, because you're going to have new objectives. So I'm not saying you can't have goals. Goals are very important, such as the goal of simplifying your life. But it's important that your goals are serving your ability to be present now, because that's the point. Isn't that the reason why you want a nice house and nice cars and nice food? The reason why is so that you can appreciate them now. But as you do consciousness work, and as you practice meditation, and you go on meditation retreats, and you use psychedelics in a responsible way for the purpose of spiritual inquiry, then you're going to be able to appreciate the most simple things in life. You'll be able to stare at your fingertip for an hour and just marvel in its beauty and feel so much bliss and satisfaction just at the fact that your hand even exists at all. You'll be able to stare at it for hours and feel the same amount of happiness and satisfaction that a billionaire gets from flying on his private jet to Hawaii. In fact, you'll feel a lot more satisfaction, because it takes a lot of work to book a trip to Hawaii, whereas your hand is right here. Stare at it. It's amazing. It's profound. And that's the point of your life, is to realize the profundity and the God in every single moment. And that's only possible through consciousness work, through raising the quality of your consciousness. Check out my video, How Meditation Works. So another tip for simple living, well, actually, we basically just covered all of them. That's awesome. Now you're going to have some free time to really smell the roses of life. And that's the reason why you're alive. I've said it 100 times. So before I beat this horse to death, thank you so much for listening. You can subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Mindsets for creating an amazing life and mastering your psychology And a lot of the things that I'm going to be saying are the exact opposite of what culture teaches you. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you have yourself an amazing life.